Yesterday, I attended court in Lethbridge, Alberta, for a bail review hearing for Chris Carbert. Along with three other men nicknamed the Coutts Four, he's being charged with conspiracy to commit murder at the Coutts border blockade in February 2022. You can see my full report on our website. It was the Ezra Levant show for November 8th. Rebel News has covered the Coutts blockade since it began, including embedding journalists in the blockade itself. Some readers have asked me why Rebel News is not also crowdfunding the legal defense for the Coutts Four. Now, during the trucker convoy, Rebel News raised funds to defend protesters charged with civil disobedience, things like minor nonviolent offenses like mischief. When we announced our crowdfunding campaign, we did not contemplate defending people charged with serious or violent criminal offenses like conspiracy to commit murder, nor did we collect money from our donors for that purpose. Nonetheless, we have helped the Coutts Four in a number of ways. During the blockade, before anyone was arrested, Rebel News crowdfunded lawyers who took shifts around the clock at the saloon in Coutts where the protesters were congregated. Those lawyers gave advice to all the men in real time and also engaged with the police in negotiations to assist the men. A central piece of legal advice to the men was not to exceed peaceful civil disobedience. Nonetheless, when Chris Lysak, Chris Carbert, and Anthony Olenek were charged with conspiracy to commit murder, Rebel News paid for their lawyers at their bail hearing. To the best of our knowledge, the fourth member of the Coutts Four, Jerry Moran, was never actually at the Coutts blockade. The judge did not grant the men bail. Now, I think it's unlikely that any judge would have granted bail given the evidence that was before the court at the time. In any event, the men fired our lawyers and hired a series of new lawyers. And I'm glad to see there have been other crowdfunding campaigns specifically for these men and for these serious criminal charges. Rebel News is crowdfunding the legal defense for about 30 other truckers in Alberta, including what we call the Coutts Three: Marco van Hugenbos, Alex van Herk, and George Jansen, as well as dozens of other truckers in Windsor and Ottawa, including Tamara Leach herself. Rebel News is also crowdfunding the legal defense of Pastor Arthur Pavlovsky for charges relating to his sermon at the Coutts blockade. Since 2020, Rebel News has crowdfunded lawyers, including through the Democracy Fund charity, to defend the civil liberties of more than 3,000 Canadians charged with various lockdown offenses, and has supported several constitutional challenges too. Crowdfunding for serious criminal charges, such as what the Coutts Four face, is simply outside of our mandate, but we will continue to cover the trial of the Coutts Four journalistically. That's my update, but make sure to check back at Rebel News whenever there's more court action regarding the truckers. Thanks.